often do you watch my videos? How often do you study English? Do you know how often? Do you know adverbs of frequency? In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about adverbs as a beginner. Hey friends, Teacher Prix here to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English, and this is lesson 30 of the Beginner's Guide. This is the last lesson of the first Beginner's Guide of this channel. Next year, I will start the Beginner's Guide Part 2, okay? I think there will be less lessons, but longer ones, okay? I don't know if you noticed, but all the Beginner's Guide lessons are very short. So for the next guide, I'm planning on 15 to 20 lessons, but they are going to be a little bit longer and there will be more exercises for you to do as a homework, okay? So stay tuned because next year, there will be many things for you next year. Well, let's get started. What is an adverb? An adverb is a word that will modify, that will change the meaning of the verb, okay? At this moment, that's what you're going to learn. In the future, you will learn more possibilities, okay? These adverbs usually describe time, manner, how you do something. But today, I'm going to show you adverbs of frequency, okay? In previous lessons, I showed you W8 questions and I made many separate videos. Today, I'm going to show you how often. And to do that, I need to show you adverbs of frequency. What is a frequency? I make videos every day. Every day is a frequency. I always make videos. That's a frequency. So that's what I'm going to show you. Words, adverbs that indicate frequency and how to use them in English. The basic rule you need to learn about adverbs of frequency is the position, okay? In previous lessons, you learned how to use verbs in English, right? To make phrases in the simple present. So you are going to use the adverbs in a specific place in your phrase. And for main verbs, you are going to use the adverb before the verb. I always watch Teacher Prix videos. I never wake up early. So this is the position before the main verb. Why do I say the main verb? Sometimes there are more verbs in your phrase. I like to study. There are two verbs here, like and study. But like is the main verb. It is the most important verb. Most important just to help you understand, okay? So my adverb will come before like, not before study, okay? So this is the first position you need to know. The second thing you need to know is there is a different position for a different verb. Can you guess what verb I'm talking about? Yes, verb to be. For verb to be, you are going to use this adverb after, okay? So, I am never late for class. My sister is always tired on Mondays. The position is different for verb to be. And there will be some other verbs, but I will show them in the future. Now, all you need to know is that for verb to be, it's after. For other main verbs, other different verbs, you will use before, okay? Now, what are the adverbs I'm going to show you today? Here they are. Always. Always is like 100% of the time. Let's think of percentages, okay? These percentages are just to give you an idea of frequency. So always means 100% of the time. So for example, I always get up at 6 a.m. on weekdays. What is weekday? Monday to Friday. So I always get up at 6 a.m. on weekdays. So this always happens 100% of the time. I always get up at 7 on weekdays. How about you? What time do you get up on weekdays? The second adverb I'm going to show you is usually, okay? I usually go to the gym in the afternoon. What does that mean? What is usually? It's not all the time. It's not 100% of the time. It's more like 80% of the time. It's not always, but it's a good frequency. So I usually go to the gym in the afternoon. Okay? A new adverb. I often read books in English. I often read. So see the position before the main verb. I often read books in English. Often would be like 70% of your time. It's a good frequency, okay? I am sometimes late for work. Sometimes would represent 50%, okay? Sometimes. Sometimes I am on time, sometimes I am not on time. Now, the frequency, the adverb sometimes will sometimes come in different positions, okay? It's very natural for native speakers to start sentences with sometimes, all right? But this is the rule. You use sometimes before the main verb. I sometimes call my friends. Or you can say sometimes I call my friends. There's a tiny difference, but that's not the focus of today's lesson, all right? And remember, for verb to be, after. I am always, I am sometimes late for work. Next one. I hardly ever drink soda. Hardly ever is a very low frequency, like 5% of the time. So I hardly ever drink soda. You can also say I rarely drink soda. I am rarely late for work. 5% of the time. Remember, the position is different for the verb to be. I am rarely late for work. And the one that represents 0% is never. I never eat. I never eat. I don't know what I never eat. That's a good question. I never eat zucchinis. I don't like them. How about you? So these are affirmative sentences you can make with the adverbs of frequency, okay? Now, the second part of this lesson. How can you make negative sentences? What's the position for the negative sentences? In this basic beginner's guide, you learned its simple present phrases. So that's what I'm going to focus on. Don't and doesn't. So what is the position? I don't or she doesn't, adverb, and then your verb. Okay? So your adverb will be between the negative auxiliary verb, don't or doesn't or didn't. You will learn this in the future. And the main verb. Okay? Teacher, how about the verb to be? I am not always on time. Same thing. You will say all your negative form of verb to be, and then you will use your adverb and then the rest of your sentence. I am not usually late for dinner. Okay? Now remember, with never, you don't use your phrase in the negative form. Never is already a negative word. So it's strange to say, I don't never do that. I never do that. Okay? One important thing is, not all adverbs will make sense in negative form. So pay attention. Sometimes your sentence will be very confusing if you use in the negative form. So try to adapt your sentence and maybe use a different adverb and make an affirmative sentence instead. So these are the adverbs I wanted to show you in this lesson. Now I'm going to show you some expressions of time that are very useful. You usually use these expressions of time at the end of the phrases. What are these expressions? Every day, every plus a word, every day, every week, every month, every year. You usually use these expressions at the end of your phrase. I go to work every day. I visit my parents every month. I go to the gym every week. All right? And then I have another one. These lessons are very complete. Once, twice, 3 times. Okay, what is this? I am indicating frequency with a number. 1, 2, 3, 4 times a week. However, with the numbers 1 and 2, I have an expression for that. For 1, it's once. For 2, it's twice. And then after that, you will need the article a. Once a day, once a month, once a year, once a week. Okay, you need a. Some students tend to say per day, for day. No, it's a, once a day. Twice a week. Not twice per week, not twice for a week, not twice a week. No, okay? So only 1 and 2 are different. The other ones, you will use the number and the word times. 3 times a day, 4 times a year, 5 times a month, 10 times a day. Now that you saw what an adverb is, now that I showed you the words that express frequency, I want to show you a question you can ask about frequency. What is this question? How often? How often? And then you continue your question in English. Remember the basic lessons about how to make questions in English? It's a basic yes-no question. But the how often will change this question. It's not yes or no. I want to know frequency. So how often do you go to the movies? I go to the movies once a month. I never go to the movies. I don't like it. Okay, so I want to know frequency. To ask this question in English, you will use how often and then the rest of your question. All right? If you have questions, let me know in the comments, all right? There you go! Now I have 5 questions for you and I want to see your answers in the comments, so game on. Number 1, how often do you listen to podcasts in English? Number 2, how often do you go to the movies? Number 3, how often do you travel? Number 4, how often do you call your friends? And number 5, how often do you read books? There you go. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. These last lessons are going to be a little long, but there was a lot of information, and I think this is a very complete lesson for a beginner. There are more things you need to learn about adverbs, but as I said, it's a beginner's guide. There will be more for you next year, so stay tuned. And if you enjoyed this video, help me grow this community by sharing this video on your social media. Thank you so much, friends, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!